So this morning I just wanted to take a look at the last bit of fabrication work that needs to happen on this project, and it's basically coupling this big old monster Z-force motor to the transmission of the quad. Originally there was an engine right in here, two-stroke engine, and then a CVT transmission that hooked the engine up to the transmission case. The reason for the transmission is so that you get two ranges of forward gear, a low gear and a high gear forward, and then a reverse and also neutral. I don't really need neutral, but having the two ranges for forward is kind of nice, in that if you really have a heavy load, you can drop it down a gear, which is kind of crazy because I have 3 times the power that the vehicle had originally, so I'm not really going to need more torque, but more torque is always cool. Anyway, one of the challenges with coupling this coupler, you can see, is a sprocket here and also a sprocket here. They are linked together by this double wide chain that wraps around both sprockets and links them together. It's a very nice coupler in that it's tolerant of quite a lot of misalignment issues, but I'm trying to minimize those with the fabrication of this mount. These two vertical members are going to carry the motor once I get it up into place. I'm using a small jack stand here, adjustable lab jack, to position the motor vertically. I'm using the face of the pulley against the face of the other pulley to register the motor in position, both left to right and up and down. So anyway, there's 2 spacers on here that I just glued on with instant adhesive cyanoacrylate to give me the spacing that I need between the face of the 2. And the reason for that is on this chain there's a gap between here that is 1/4 of an inch, and this just happens to be 1/4 inch keystock. So I just glued that on there. That gives me the perfect spacing. It also gives me a nice parallel surface to butt the motor up against in order to get the alignment that I need. And then I just have to really watch the up and down and left to right position as I go. So anyway, the goal today is to get these bars in position, welded in place. Then we'll get the motor back up there. We'll mark the locations for the mounting holes for this plate to the bars, which will allow easy removal of the motor in the future for service. I'm probably going to go with welded studs. So what I'll do is I'll probably cut an oversized hole in these tubes, weld a piece of steel tubing in, and then I will have bolts welded to the backside sticking out as in the form of studs, so that you can just pop the motor on, run the nuts on, and the mounting is done. So there'll be holes in this plate here. Anywho, had to make a lot of cuts so far on the plate to clear this bit of structure on the frame. We got to clean those up, make them look a little better. Right now they're just clearance cuts. Anyway, that's it. This is the last major fabrication project for this vehicle, and we're waiting for a couple of things. We're waiting for the bodywork to come back from Utah, from the wrap place. I can't put the seat on until I can get the bodywork in place, because the seat integrates with the bodywork. And also the brake lines are still down at the hose shop in Santa Cruz and probably won't be done for a couple days yet. Anywho, that's the update. Hopefully very soon we'll show a video of this all finished up and this thing coupled to the transmission. And I've got some more wiring work to do. These wires with the motor in place aren't long enough to make it back to the controller all the way. So I'm going to have to cut and splice extensions onto these. I'm also going to have to extend the motor encoder position sense leads to the controller. But other than that, that's really the only harness mod I'm going to need to make. One other thing, the DC to DC converter that was in here, I had to pull it out for a couple of reasons. Number one, it was getting in my way doing the fabrication work in here. And also, it just didn't make sense from a harness perspective. By moving a DC to DC converter over to the other side, up alongside of the battery above the shift linkage, just makes the whole harness work so much better for this vehicle. It gives me a lot more length in the leads from here to the front of the vehicle, which makes a lot of the 12-volt switchgear work much better without extending anything. So anywho, it's kind of funny because almost everything that I mounted 2 years ago thinking this is where it's going to go, this is its permanent resting place, every single thing that I've mounted except for the MBB, which I'm not even sure it's going to stay here, are all going to have to, they've all moved. They've all been in different positions. So my advice in the future to a future self is to put the harness in first and get an idea for where things make sense with the harness, just to avoid a whole lot of harness rework. Anyway, that's the update, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye. All right, folks. We are getting so dangerously close. The motor is mounted. Came out pretty nice. Here's the coupler. The alignment came out pretty bitchin'. I'm really happy with it. It is parallel and coaxial and all of that good stuff. The only issue remaining, hopefully I'll be able to bring a crimper home from work tomorrow. My motor phase leads are all too short. They need to go here, here, and here. And they just aren't going to make it. So they all need to be extended out. This guy here as well, the encoder input, I'm probably going to have to extend that 3 or 4 inches to get the wires to lay nice. I want to bring them in and curve here, pass through the frame and come in here. And then I think eventually, if I end up riding this thing a lot, I think I'll make a wire cage that comes up over the cables and just protects them from abrasion off-road. But mechanically, and as far as major fabrication goes, this thing is getting darn close to being done. Super happy. Anyway, that's a wrap up on the motor mount. See you guys soon.